Send me the link. I'll open it on.
Send you the link.
I'm seeing myself already. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
I told you. When I was looking for you, I didn't see you. And when I'm not looking for you, it's when I'm seeing you. So, online people, good morning. I know it's morning for you guys now. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Last week we had some technical challenges. Coupled with I was tired that last week. So this week I slept very well. That is why, as you are looking at me, you're looking like I'm looking like an energy drink. Not fearless. Okay. Last week we started talking about system requirements, right? Software requirements. And we discussed on what is software requirement. What is software requirement for? Those of you in class, I'm talking to you. We talked about software requirements, and then we talk about type of requirements, right? So what are the types? Anyone? Abi, you don't use the type chop chin chin for house. What are the type of requirements we have? Anyone? No. But you tried. You said something. Other people just kept quiet, like they're waiting for the return. We talked about functional and non-functional requirement, and then we talked about the main requirements. Now, can you cite an example of functional requirements? Okay. Use real world item. Cite an example of functional requirements. So when we say real life situation or real life example, it doesn't have to be software related because there is ambiguity in the question itself. So you're open to interpret it as what anyhow you see fit. Though we're talking about software engineering, but since the question says you cite real world example to explain functional requirement, you can decide to talk about cooking Indomie. What is the functional requirement in that situation?
See, traffic lights. Traffic light has the camera to identity.
Well, we are currently trying to learn how to use Microsoft Word and Excel, and this guy is doing AI. Like a car, Mm. 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 Eh? Okay. Mm. So, we said we're going to we've discussed on what is requirement, type of requirement, requirement engineering process, software requirement specifications, requirement gathering techniques, requirement characteristics, and then user interface requirement, okay? So here we define what requirement is. I believe we've discussed this last week. Oh, we've discussed this last week, Abby, if I'm not forgetting. And then we talked about the type of requirements which are here. Functional, non-functional, and domain requirements. Now, last week we've explained all of this. Now, requirement can be categorized into three. Sorry, it can be categorized logically into must have, should have, could have, and wish lists. So you can categorize your requirements based on this criteria if you need. So now when we say a requirement is must have, what does it mean? Things it cannot work without. So let's assume you have to develop a software that registers students, and then you develop a software and it doesn't have form. How far? Will it meet the requirement? It will not. So that requirement can be must have. And then you have should have, which is what? Enhancing the functionality of the software. So a software, so let's look at it from this perspective. A software that is supposed to register students, it has the form. When you submit the data from the form, it registers the student. That is it. So now it has satisfied the must have, but it doesn't send notification that it has added the student. Is that software good or bad? Bad, why? So sending notification is what? It should have notification. Okay? Could have, software can still operate properly without these requirements. Okay? The software will work just fine without these requirements. Okay? And then you have wish lists. These requirements do not map to any objective of the software whatsoever. Okay? Software requirement engineering process. The process of gathering the software requirement from clients, analyze the requirement, and documenting them is known as what? Requirement engineering. The goal of requirement engineering is to develop and maintain sophisticated and descriptive system requirement specification document known as SRS. Okay? Requirement engineering process is broken into 4-step process, which include what? Feasibility studies. Requirement what? Requirement gathering. Software requirement what? And software requirement. So now I talk and me talk. And so now I talk now. Person wey write for placard say army na women. You carry that placard, they pass in front of barrack. The person write, I know you go talk beating, Abi. Abi, the person carry the waka up and down. So let's be safe, please. Okay. Now, requirement engineering process. Okay, so we talked about this. So feasibility studies. What is feasibility studies? It has something to do with Okay, any other person? You are right, but that is not the end of it. Any other person? Yeah?
For instance, you want to go into
Yeah? Okay. Okay.
you first get to understand what kind of soil is what kind of beans can be grown in what area,
Mm.
and you need to find out whether people actually are actually seeking to buy the bean because they sell it in the long run.
Mm.
Then that's the market nearby. Then you also need to find out this
Mm.
how long these grow, what the cost challenges, how long it takes to grow,
Mm.
what you need to
True.
do. Okay, then in terms of healthcare aspects,
Mm.
feasibility study is that to do with you checking if it's a project, you have to check who your allocated are,
Mm.
who your teachers are,
Mm.
and then you do studies on what is the market and what you intend to do to make the most of that.
Okay.
So these are just what feasibility studies.
So, when the client approached the organization for getting the desired product developed, the organization come up with a rough idea about what all the functions the software must perform and which features are expected from the software. Referencing to this information, the analysts do a detailed study about whether the desired system and its functionality are feasible to develop. In simple terms, feasibility studies is like when you want to develop a software, you need to be able to check certain parameters to know this software I'm developing. Does it? Do we have the? Do we have everything needed to develop the software? That is one aspect of feasibility studies. Do we have the technical feasibility? Do we have technical expertise to develop the software? Do you have the human resources to develop the software? If we develop this software, the question is, can we make profit from developing the software for the client? All that needs to fall under what? Feasibility studies. Now, you only venture into software development when the feasibility studies is positive. Okay? When the feasibility studies is positive, you venture into. When the feasibility studies is not positive and you venture into, there is high probability of failure. Okay? But then we're in Nigeria, and one has to look at it from different angles. If you say feasibility studies no do you well, you go do somebody else well. So now, from feasibility studies, you'll be able to know the team of people you need, the costs of developing the software, the profit you will get at the end of the development, the time it will take to develop the software, and many other things. Okay? So if the feasibility report is positive toward undertaking the project, the next phase start with what? Gathering requirement from who? The user. Analysts and engineers communicate with clients and end users to know their ideas on what the software should provide and which features they want the software to what? Include. Okay? Software requirement specification. SRS, or software requirement specification, is a document created by system analysts after the requirements are what? Collected from various stakeholders. Now, who are the stakeholders? You have to know who your stakeholders are. Your client is a stakeholder. The team that are going to develop the software itself, we are stakeholders too. Who else? The end users are stakeholders too. Because sometimes, that is what I wanted to talk about. Now, most people assume that the client is the end user. No, not always. Let's assume Dangote wants you to develop an app for him that will manage his new refinery that is not getting crude oil. And you develop the software. Do you think it's Dangote that will come and operate it? No. Right? Now, imagine a scenario whereby Dangote called you and said, develop a software for me. And you develop the software. And the end users have nothing to do with it. Even though they will have to use it, but it's not because they want to. And if they have options, they will not use it. So the client and end users can be one person, can be different people. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. Okay. Now, SRS define how the intended software will interact with what? With what? With hardware, external interfaces, speed of operations, response time of system, portability of what? Software across what? What does this mean? Portability, software portability. Not the portable that you see music in Lagos. Okay? What it means is you can develop a software, and then when you go to deploy, you get to learn, you learn that the end user is using Linux, and you develop a Windows application. So a portable software is software that can run on multiple platforms. Okay? And Java made that possible. I think it was from Java that we started having an application that will run on Windows, will run on Mac, and will run on Linux, and all the other distributions of Linux. Okay? Maintainability, speed of recovery afterwards, crash, security, quality, limitations, etc. The requirements received from the client are written in natural language. Okay? It is the responsibility of the system analyst to document the requirements in technical language so that they can be comprehended and used by the software development team. So now, this particular thing we're talking about is a rule. Software analyst or system analyst is a role. Okay? And it's their own responsibility to listen to the requirement and then come up with a more understandable language that the developers will understand. Okay? Or software development team will understand. Software requirement specification should come up with the following features. User requirements are expressed in what? Guys, are you hungry, Nick? Are you hungry? Eh? You are me. Oh, okay. Technical requirements are expressed in structured language, which is used inside the organization. Okay? Design description should be written in what? Pseudocode. What is pseudocode? Handwritten what? Mba no. Mba. Yes. Not like sketching, because when you say sketching in normal, in my own, when I was in secondary school, and the experience what sketching was to me, it has to do with drawing something. I don't know if you attended the same secondary school like me. Abby? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but when I heard word sketching, the first thing that comes to my mind is drawing, right?
Sketch is not drawing. Sketch is more like breaking down something. You draw, you sketch. You sketch for the draw.
I thought the drawing is sketching. It's not? Even Chief at the back is saying, hey. He wants to go and collect his money from his secondary school. All right. So pseudocode is like a simplified version of coding. It's extremely simplified. It's more towards natural language than actually programming. Yeah. So you have things like start, receive inputs, not flowcharts. This one is you're writing the software. Yeah, so pseudocode, let me explain a bit of pseudocode for you guys. So let's assume you're trying to put on a bulb, right? So you say start, you say switch on. If bulb is on, exit. Else, check the bulb. If bulb is installed, replace bulb. So this is natural English. If you listen, if you're reading this, you know that this is step-by-step instruction, but it's following certain this thing. And then at the end of the day, it will become it will graduate to an algorithm, and then it will be programmed. Then format of forms and GUI screen prints. Okay, conditional and mathematical notations for what? DFD. What is DFD? Huh? The rise. Data flow diagram. Okay, good. So DFD stands for data flow diagram. Okay. Software requirement validation. So after you've done all the requirement gathering, you've done all the errors, you still validate. Okay? Because the idea behind requirement gathering is at the end of requirement gathering, there should not be any ambiguity in the requirement. Everything will be clear as daylight. Okay? Wind has blown, foul ash has. You're not me talking, now you guys talk out. Okay? All right, let's move on. Now, after requirement specification are developed, the requirements mentioned in the document are validated. Users might ask for illegal or impractical solutions, or experts may interpret the requirement inaccurately. Now, let me give you an example of somebody misinterpreting something. Someone misinterpreting something inaccurately. Now, there is this common phrase we use in Nigeria that has almost 30 meaning or 40 meaning, a single phrase. Eh? 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 Same thing. But the way you say it out gives it what? Different meaning. And then maybe when they were gathering the requirement, the person said, do this thing for me, And they say, okay. And now there is ambiguity in what is expected of the person to do. So if you don't validate, you put in the software. Okay? So you need to what? You need the requirements to be as clear as when wind blow. Okay? Now, user might ask you to do something illegal. It's very possible. Very, very possible. But you know, say as we do this business now, for this ministry we did, for this government office, if not be this small things when they enter our pocket, now how person will take build house? Help us, I beg, just put on small. If 10,000 naira enter, 1,000 naira just follow one angle. No worry, nobody go know. We will do you something new, man. No worry. By the time you see EFC the year. Oh. I was listening to one program in one of the radio stations, and they were asking the guy, sir, this is your business. How do we know that it's genuine? He said, I share the same office with EFCC. Right? So, clients might ask you to do something illegal. Okay? It's left to you to not do something illegal, because at the end of the day, it will come back to who developed the software. And most of the illegal stuff that are going on are not done in written. So you can explain entire no evidence. Which sign God come put make money they come out the entire pocket. God no, even devil no collect that arrangement. I'm not gonna tell you the truth. Okay? Somebody, the online people are just full of energy. Somebody don't drink 10 zobu. Let's move on. The results in what? There is a typo there. This results huge increase. There is a typo.
No, it's correct.
Okay. Okay. Now you talk about. The requirement can be checked against the following conditions if they can be practically implemented. If they can be what? Practically implemented. You are developing an app for a bank, and then they tell you, and because of saying a bank we did, no worry. If they deposit 1 naira, put us at 10,000. Nobody will know. Is that practically implemented? Can you implement practically? The answer is yes, but the problem that will come with it is what? Or somebody ask you to develop a system that travels backward through time. When by the time you finish developing software, you should be counting from yesterday or from tomorrow. Except if it's a predictive system, but it cannot be practically implemented. Okay? If they are valid and as per functionality and domain of software, if there are any ambiguity, if they are complete, if they can be demonstrated. Sometimes when you see people talking about a project at its initial phase, you see somebody say, you see this place, from here now, the world will just move like this, go straight. Demonstration. But you are explaining to somebody that the world is supposed to go like this. You know that you understand what you are trying to do. But that person that you bring over to come and check how the walls are going to be, say, but the wall can be somewhere there and somewhere there and maybe somewhere. You know that there is a problem somewhere too. Okay, so let's move on. Requirement gathering process. Requirement elicitation / gathering process can be depicted using the following. Requirement gathering. The developers discuss with the clients and end users and know their expectation from the what? Software. Organizing requirement. Developers prioritize and arrange the requirement in order of what? Importance, urgency, and what? Convenience. Negotiation and what? Discussion. If there are ambiguity, or there are some conflicts in the requirement of various stakeholders, it is then negotiated and discussed with the stakeholders. So what this is trying to say is that when there is ambiguity in the requirement, you need to come back and sit down with the end users and the clients to iron things out. Okay. Then documentation follows. Wait, so people online, now they surprise me. Seriously, somebody is coming to tell me good afternoon, sir, and I should stop and reply. Okay. Requirement elicitation techniques. Requirement elicitation is the process of gathering requirement for an intended software system by communicating with client, end users, system users, and others who have a stake in the software development. There are various ways to gather requirements. Some of them are explained below. What? What's an interview? Madam, interview, have you watched news before? Interview now, channels, they call people and then they interview them. No, survey is different from interview. One-on-one interaction with clients, or you can sit in a group and discuss and interview each other. You interview them. Okay, this software that you want, you say you want it to be able to print human hand. And okay, so which type of filament do you have that is going to be? Which type of filament do you think is cheapest that you can get close by? And then they will say, okay, we know of this, and then you document. Okay, you have structured and what? Non-structured interviews. What is a structured interview? Yes. It's what? What about unstructured? How about oral? What about written? One-on-one interviews, which I held between two persons across the table. Group interview is like all of us now, we are talking about maybe a software that we need to develop, and then you are telling me that we need to put a button that if you click it, money will enter Mr. Haya's account. And then I will shout amen. Okay? Surveys and questionnaires. So in an effort to gather requirements, you can distribute surveys and questionnaires. Okay? Organizations may conduct surveys among various stakeholders by querying about their expectation and requirement for the upcoming system. Questionnaires are documents with predefined set of what? And respective what is handed to who? To answer, right? Which are collected and compiled. A shortcoming of this technique is if an option for some issues is not mentioned in the questionnaire, the issue might be left unattended. That is one problem with what? Questionnaires. So I'll give you a simple example. Somebody is asking you between okra soup and ogbono soup, Which one is better? And then your own thinking is jollof rice. Because that is what I want. But it's not part of the options. So that opinion you want to express is not expected, because it's not part of what? The question. Task analysis and what? Task analysis. Team of engineers and developers may analyze the operation for which the new system is required. If the client already has some software to perform certain operations, it is studied and requirements of proposed systems are collected. Now, sometimes you might go to an organization that wants, maybe, let me give you a simple example. An organization already have a software that handles, let's assume it's a university. They already have a system that handles their admission process. But the only thing it does is handle admission process. And then you are asked to develop an integrated system that will handle admission, application, registration, change of course, and so on and so forth. Now, they tell you, but we already have this system. You can study the system and what? Build based on that particular system and then add more features to it. Domain analysis, every software falls into some domain categories. The expert people in the domain can be a great help to analyze general and specific requirements, okay? Brainstorming and observation. What is brainstorming? Hmm? Hmm? Which one? Okay. Domain analysis. What it's trying to say is that, okay, look at it from this way. You are asked to develop a software for doctors. Or a software that has to do with medicine. And you're not from that background. If you get people from that domain, they might be of great help to you in gathering the requirements. Does that make sense? So, something like that. Brainstorming and what? Observation. What is brainstorming? Somebody. Hmm? He's thinking about technique or ideas. Okay. I'll not bite. Any other one? Critical thinking to solve a problem. Any other one? Is good. Sharing ideas without judgment. Sharing ideas. That is all brainstorming. So now let's assume all of us in this classroom are broke. All of us were broke. And we all live in one small. No. It's an example now. Madam, you're not broke. You've been in the UK doing holiday, surfing the sea. So let's assume all of us were in the same village and we're broke. And then let's assume I'm the chief of the village. I have to be selfish now. I have to be selfish, right? So I said, everybody, come. Everybody come. And then we all gathered. And then I say, this broke, who you broke so. The only thing we feature the coconuts, and they're on top 3. How will we solve this problem? And then someone says, but we have a river, we can go and fish. Somebody said, okay, but apart from coconut, there is one mango tree over there. We can fetch that mango tree and eat. Somebody said there is guava over there. Everybody is bringing what? His own idea. Now, some ideas might be stupid. But you don't tell people that, chief, your idea is stupid. You accept all. Somebody might decide to tell you something like, but that toilet that all of us are using, if we can take this thing out of it, and the ones that our cows are putting on the ground, if you can take all of them and then spread it all over the place, and then we put plants on top, and then let's see what will happen. Somebody might say, "Hey, your idea is stupid. What are you talking about?" Eh? But then maybe you decide, and let me just go and do it myself, and then you take shovel, enter the toilet, be packing this thing, pack the cows down, and all of those things, and then go and plant, and then a few months later, his farm is growing larger than every other person's farm. And then somebody will shout, "Hey, evil spirits." But that is not it. Somebody brought an idea, but it's kicked out. And that idea is going to save our small village of the broke people. Please don't protest. As the villager now, I'm begging not to protest. Okay? Prototyping, we're back. Prototyping is building user interface without adding detailed functionality for users to interpret the features of the intended software products. Okay? So let's assume a user wants you to develop a software for him, and then instead of developing the software, you use, is it Sigma? No, Figma. You use Figma or Adobe XD and to develop the user interface for him to see. He cannot be able to add any data into it, but he can see that, okay, this field is to add name, this field is to add address, this field is to add phone number, this field is to add account number, and this field is to add this, and this. There and then, if he has any reservations, he can always tell you, this form that you say we should add phone number, I see that the length is as big as the one we should add address. I think we should reduce the size so that it doesn't give somebody the impression that he has to put his 2 phone numbers in it. Because that is what some of you guys here did. When I give you form to fill, put your phone number, you put your chair, the chairman, your Esther's phone number, and someone put 3 phone numbers for me. As if I'm going to call. The reason why I asked for the phone number is so that I can use that as, you know what, I don't need to say it, because people online will go and start looking for that form. Okay? Okay. If there is no software installed at the client end of the developer's reference, and the client is not aware of its own requirement, the developer creates a prototype based on initial mentioned requirements. The prototype is shown to the client, and the feedback is noted. So when you show your prototype to the user will give you feedbacks, and based on those feedbacks, you note them. The client feedback serves as an input for requirement gathering. Okay. Software requirement ethics or characteristics. Gathering software requirement is the foundation of the entire software development project. Hence, they must be what? Clear, correct, and well defined. A complete software requirement specification must be, what is the first one? Then, and then, all the, unambiguous. If you go and meet somebody that is not credible and you give you requirement and you go and do it, okay. Okay. User interface requirements. Now, user interface or UI is an important part of any software or hardware, hardware or hybrid system. A software is widely accepted if it is what? Good. Now, what does this last item mean? In fact, let's start from the top. Easy to operate. What does it mean? How many of you went to school to learn how to use Facebook? Facebook. What about WhatsApp? None of you go to school to learn how to do WhatsApp. Hey. What of Twitter? You didn't even go to somebody and tell you, I said, Chief, how did you open this your Twitter? I didn't open Twitter and start tweeting. You just open it on your own. So it was your friend from the get-go. Yeah. When you started doing the tweeting thing and you post tweets, did he tell you that your tweet has been posted or you just keep it? And how long did it take you when you post that tweet for it to appear? Almost immediately. Are you sure? Unless if you're using, let me not say Airtel, but unless if you're using the other one. Abi? When you posted photo on Instagram, how long did it take the photo to do and then start showing people in the world? Especially if you're using 5G. So if a software is quick to respond, then people will get what? Comfortable with it. That is why when I'm doing transfer, I'm using First Bank. When I'm doing transfer and I see First Bank start doing that cycle, my mind will be doing doom, until I see success. Why? Because anything can happen. Anything can what? Can happen. At that point in time, it will show you an error. And it has deducted. And the other person that is supposed to receive it has not received it. You go explain to no evidence. And may God have mercy on you. So if that is your last cash and you are in the bus station from Zaria coming to Abuja, I mean, you are this NYC club member that doesn't know there is a difference between rivers and cross river. My friend is supposed to go to cross river. He goes to what? Rivers. That is why it's very important for people to what? Move around and know places. User acceptance majorly depend on how what? How user can what? Before, there was one software that everybody, and let me not say everybody, but practically everybody except me were using. The name of that software was To Go. 3 a.m. He's going. What happened to Go? Is it working? Some years ago, around 2010, when I had my first heartbreak, my first real heartbreak, there was something called Yahoo Messenger. Where is it now? Who is using it, Amma? Is the question. You use WhatsApp, you are who they chat WhatsApp Messenger. Yahoo Messenger. Really? So you still use Yahoo Messenger to chat. Interesting. Not to send email. And you have friends that chat on Yahoo Messenger. Yeah. When you have WhatsApp. Okay. A well-performing software system must also be equipped with what? Attractive, clear, consistent, and responsive user interface. Clear, consistent. What does that consistent mean? If your button to add something on your software is a circular button with a plus sign inside, make sure you replicate it across all the pages. Because if you put plus in one, you put minus in another one, You put divide by another one, and then somebody is trying to add, and then the system is telling you, are you sure you want to delete this record? You know there's a problem. There is inconsistency. Okay? And then it has to be what? Responsive. What does what responsive mean? Anyone? Back then, when I was in my undergraduate, there was no Twitter Bootstrap. So most of the application we develop, if you develop, let's assume you develop a booking system and you want to do the mobile version of it, you either have to use jQuery mobile or do something else. Okay? You either have to use jQuery mobile or do something else. But then the time Bootstrap came into play, and before you know what is going on, we start to hear things like Tailwind, we start to hear things like Material UI, and so on and so forth. And then before you know what is going on, most web applications today are what? Mobile compatible. Once you start to reduce the size of the screen, you see that long menu bar, it will collapse into what? A hamburger what? Icon. If you click on it, you have a drop down. Hey, I thought this was allowed to. You're expecting a lot. At that time, enter with the show you shady. But people keep calling. User interface requirements are briefly mentioned by the right hand. By the right hand what? Side. Which are what? Which is what are the requirements? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. System user interface element. Uh-huh. Feedback mechanism. Now let's wait there a bit and discuss some of the items above. When you start to when you are using colors in software, it has to contrast. Let me give you an example. Imagine somebody is developing a software for you and then he made the background white. And then he made the button white. And then he made the text inside the button too white. He's trying to create an engine. How do you think the person is going to use that software? Hmm? Or you make you use one of those because some colors shout. I don't know if you've experienced that before. You look at the color and it shout at you, hey! You kind of shiver a bit, right? There is this color that is a bit light green, lemon. It shouts. So at some point, when I see pink, it shouts at me. That's why I'm surprised when I see ladies liking pink. It's like, hey, and yellow. Brown, I like brown. Ash, I like ash, especially base ash. Even purple is sometimes it shouts. So if you're developing a software, use colors that do not what? Shout at people. Use colors that are what? Calm. Precisely, use colors that reflect the company's logo. Well, some people don't know how to create logo. You see in their logo, they have green, purple, brown, ash, charcoal. and all the other this thing. I don't know if I'm making sense. Consistent user interface, user interface element, we have talked about it. Feedback mechanism, what does that mean? Feedback mechanism. The system should be able to give you feedback. If you are to add a user and there is name and email, when you type the name and email and you click on what? Submit, it should be able to tell you that, please wait, system is loading. Otherwise, you just go under, okay, this click where I click, I should say you click what? Let me click it again. And then you start clicking, and then nothing happens again. And then this clicking the system, let me just do the clicking like 20 times. You click, right? And then you keep clicking, and then the more you click, the more it sends a new request. And that other request is still pending. And then you have clicked like 30 times. Why did you do that? It's because you are not informed of what is going on. That is why I like some software. When you're working with them, they'll tell you, please wait. This will take up to 20 minutes. If you see 20 minutes, you just stand up and start cooking your rice. Abi? But some software, like Microsoft, I think Microsoft Vista, when you're copying a file, it will bring the file and then it will separate, and then it will come again to separate. To do that, you continue doing that, you don't even know when it's going to finish. And then you keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and 20 minutes has gone. You that are supposed to, you're hungry. You are thinking maybe by the time it's finished, you want to do something else. You keep waiting, hey, this thing not going to finish now. Before you know, 20 minutes has gone. That 20 minutes you're supposed to use to cook rice is gone. Okay? Proposeful layout. Okay? Now with Bootstrap and the rest, most of the layouts are kind of flashy and nice. Provide helpful information. Provide what? Helpful information. What does this mean? Even when you give feedback, you have to give helpful information. Let's assume you're trying to add a user. You're trying to add a user. Okay. Let's assume you're trying to add a user. You add the name, you add the email address, and then you click submit. Instead of the system to tell you something important, it says system error, please try again. And then you click again, it says system error, please try again. What does system error, please try again mean? Precisely. You don't know. Maybe the error that is supposed to be displayed is, sorry, the name you've typed or the email address you've typed is too short. Or maybe the email address is wrong. Maybe you type the email address, you type instead of something at something.com or something, you type at something.com. The initial part is not there. And the system is telling you, system error, please try again, instead of wrong email address. So you continue typing, you continue doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results because it's telling you that it's a system error, please try again. At some point, if you know the developer, you call him and say, this software is not working. The worst English you will hear in software engineering, the software is not working. Hey, I heard that phrase. And that is the phrase we use the most. User-centric approach and group-based view settings, okay? All right. Thank you very much. Any questions? All right, shoot. User interface and user experience. Wahala deal. Don't worry, I'll answer the question for you. User interface. Can I have a marker or something? I can just start drawing. Sorry. Those of you online, I'm sorry you will not be able to be part of this explanation. Okay, somebody is teasing me that something is from Kasina. Okay, no problem. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Now, user interface. Based on the requirement you gather, construct a rule. You decide to create the rule like this. The pathway, path, right? That is what? User interface. User experience is when users now decide to do something like this. Do you understand? That is what? Experience. Because they look at, okay, if I know I don't know something, I don't know something. That is what? Experience. Now, I don't know who, but in most situations, when you have growth like this, you get a letter. This from here to here. It's very, very clean. I mean, but if you look at here and here, there's also letter of water, letter of chingom, letter of water, what else? This. So, you this thing has, but the experience it has is what? Now, there's when you're dealing with UI UX, you have to develop. That is, it falls under usability of software and the rest. And it has so many things attached to it. That is why it's a field on its own. Okay? Because there are people that their profession is just UI, UX design. That is what they are hired to do. Okay? Come again. Yes. That is the one benefit of creating a prototype before continuing into the other part of software development. Somebody is saying that the village of the broke people are in Katsina. I will not entertain that. There's somebody online. I know the person is from Niger State. I will not say anything because if I start to talk now, they will start crying. Sir, my question is that does software engineers cover all programming languages, or is it focused on specific language? Thank you. Now, do you understand the question? Now, what is the answer? It doesn't cover all the languages. If you won't die. Do you even know how many languages you have in this world right now? Yes. Cannot pick this. Yeah. Yeah, true. Okay, so it's me. I didn't understand the question. Okay. No, but this is what he said. So he said, my question is that the software engineering covers all programming languages, or is it focused on? It covers all, yeah. So someone said UX is the experience we get when interacting with the UI. The same thing. The experience you get when you are passing by the road and you see somebody cut corner, and then you see a lot of people following that particular, even if there is no proper this thing, you see people passing that this thing. Okay. Sir, please, what is the difference between software engineer and a software developer? What are these? What are the skills? What are the skills difference? Software developer, I think, is someone that's code, right? Fully. I don't think apart from that, software developer does anything. Abi? He doesn't do requirement gathering. He doesn't do analysis. He doesn't do, what do you call it? Feature enhancement, maintenance, and so on. Yeah, he does maintenance. He doesn't do testing. And then software engineer is someone that oversees the development of the software from its initial stage to completion. Okay. Online people, are you with me? Okay, let's move on. Whew. Sorry. Please, can we get the PDF of the lecture? Can we get the PDF of the lecture? I think I've sent that one, yeah? Have you? Unless if my head is not calculating very well. But I believe I've sent this thing. PDF of the lecture. Okay, guys, please let's take like 5 minutes break. Let me make some arrangement and then I will continue from there. I think the remaining part of the lecture we're going to, because we don't have much time, so we'll go a bit off book and discuss on other things as much as we can. Okay. We said the first item in software development, especially in development, when you're using things like waterfall model and waterfall related models, is what? The first item in software development when you're using waterfall and waterfall related models is what? Requirements. Cool? Requirement gathering. And then analysis. And then design. Now, when you start to talk about design, my fingers are just too fast. Okay? When you start to look at design, like I said I think in one of our previous classes, I said you've left one aspect of software development and you started meeting what? The solution. You left going away in what? Solution. Because from when you have your design, the next thing is what? Development. Now, when you're working on design, there are a lot of design tools you can use. Okay? There are a lot of what? Design tools you can what? Those include what? UML. Unified Modeling Language. It's not a programming language, so don't be scared. Okay? Under UML, you have things like use cases. What's the use case? Anyone? Okay, let's assume you are asked to develop a system, a restaurant system where people can order. Hmm? And you are asked to develop the usage for that. It looks like something like this. Okay? Use cases have called actors. Who are actors? Users of the system. Okay? So it has something called what? Actors. Now, an actor looks like this. Okay? This is what? An actor. An actor can be what? Okay? So anyone that interacts with the software is what? Is an actor. You are an actor when you start using WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. You don't have to be paid. You don't have to be paid. Once you put the pay from them, but you are an actor in their usage level. And this is what usage looks like. So we have this is the system. Okay? And then you have bonus here. Okay? Like this. Are we together? Now, this can be, let's say, login. Let's go back. Checkouts. Logouts. Okay? Let's assume the system is what? Put on. Those are the guys that goes to tantalizing environments where you go and eat this and your teeth. You know this process. Now, how many of you have Domino's pizza? Domino's. How about you? How many of you put hand down? Put your hands up. Those of you online, guys, I'm sorry. You will not be able to see what we are doing, but I will come back to you in the nearest future and then we'll discuss some more. Okay. Now, you are the customer. So you have your use case here. You need cost. Okay, sales reports. Because you want to know who sells what and when. Because I've heard of a situation whereby someone that was working in the mall even bring their own ATM POS machine. When people buy things, you give them her own POS, they put their card, you give transaction, give them. I think it was ShopRite in Lagos or somewhere. 100 million naira. So sales reports. So now, question. You are in your house and you want to order, and you already have an account as a customer. What do you do? What do you do? You log in. So now the customer can what? Log in. What is the customer do? What is the customer do? The customer can place order. What else? Okay, so let's say let's use checkout because people have different checkouts. That is order. This order. Okay. Now, apart from these two items, what can the customer do? It's part of placing order. Logouts. Now, you have the sales rep. Usually it's a big deal. If I draw a lady now, I want people to know it could be a problem in this class. I don't want to. Right? Now, the sales rep, what can she do? She can complete the order. Because some is very self-explanatory. She can complete what? The order. What else? Are you sure you want the person that is collecting money to be able to see the report again? Because this is what how an admin here. Admin. Okay, so you have an admin, right? So what can she do on the software? But can she log in? No. Can she log in? Yes. So she can log in. She can log out. Can she place an order for a user? Yes. She can place an order for a user. Let's assume her appointment is at 2 and she's not coming back early. Let's think one part. What if I make it sound sad? Maybe it's the connection by one side. Maybe it's very okay. So now let's assume she can place an order. Do you understand the relationship between the functions of the system and the actors? Now, this one is what? Sales. Right. Now, let's come out to chairman here. Admin. What can I do? And we have interest in everything, so you understand? You understand the relationship? Online people, I'm sorry, the class has moved to the blackboard. I don't have any option. So somebody snap and share with them. Before somebody now will say Mr. Hayat has done him not good. Okay? Are we together? Now, when you give a system engineer a diagram like this, he knows what it means and can easily interpret it to a software. I don't know if it makes sense. Okay? Now, this is called what? Use case diagram. Okay? It's called what? Use case diagram. Now, for your final project, I would expect to see a use case diagram. Okay? Then, apart from use case diagram, is there another diagram you can use to show the client or show the developer what is the status of you? The answer is yes. There's another diagram called sequence diagram. Now, how does it look like? How does the sequence diagram look like? So I'm going to use this beautiful. Have you snapped it? Okay. So I'm going to use this beautiful button to do justice. A sequence diagram shows sequence of events that are happening during a certain process. Does that make sense? Sequence of events that are happening during what? A certain process. Now, if you remember our usage diagram, you have list of activities, right? So now, each of those activities, you can take it out and create a sequence diagram for it. Now, let's say the first item, logic, right? So it's not diagram you can use like this. This is what? The end user. Let's say customer. Yes, cost. If you don't know the format correctly, you are on your own. But me, as far as I'm concerned, that is customer. Okay? All right. Look at it, right? Yes. That's it. Now, sequence diagram shows the step-by-step process of how thinking happens. So now, it has something like this. Here is front end. Sorry. Here is that my phone? It's only a piece for there's time here. Center. Please tell me to block C. So now we have let's say our logic. If we start doing something like that, our logic is not just one thing happening. There is a series of things going on. Okay. So I will show you when I finish it. Then I will show you in here how it works. On my system, I have a procedure that I'm working on that I use to show you how it works. Okay. Now, the user is trying to log in. User sent his username and password to the back end. So here is what? For instance. And then the back end send a request to the DB. For instance. Database. So now, what this means is, but anything the user wants to log in, the first thing he do is he sends a request to backend. What in that request, what is he sending? Username and the password. Oh, that's what he used to log in. Yeah. So now it's sending what? Uname and pass. Well, this is like that. So let me just do this. The backend. The backend collects that username and password, and then what? Sends it to the database. Now, the database verifies that information and do what? Send back a response saying that the user and password is correct or it's not correct. Okay? Now, back end, look at the response in the database and do what? Send back a response to what? That is what happens when you send the agent and password and press one. Okay? This is a rough sketch. Okay? Please don't put it on this. Before you go and this is a square diagram. They use an entire leg. How? Yes. You know 5 minutes. Hey. And I'm here saying I want to show the students how. You guys are tired. Online people, sorry, I'm back. Sorry, it's been ages. In fact, I've forgotten some of your names. No vex. Bikonu. Okay. Okay. Are you see what I'm seeing? Are you not see what I'm seeing? Are you see what I'm seeing? This is what? It's same diagram. This guy here is called what? What's generally? It's not easy. It's an actor. Oh, I've forgotten that this is what do you call it? Now, are you see what I'm saw? What is this? Use case. You see this program manager? This is not course. That is all. Apart from this, not anything at all. This new manager, these are the things customer and prospective customer. Then there is DFD. There is what? DFD. This is theory for what? Food ordering system. How does it? How do you read it? You start from customer. And customer do what? Or did what? And then what is the response he gets? They give him bill now. And then they check the inventory. You don't have the items. If they have the items, it goes where? It will come up, don't worry. And then from kitchen, it goes where? The order, they check inventory, and so on. This is not a good diagram to use as a case study. Okay. So this is a better diagram to use, actually. Customer orders for food. The order goes to the kitchen after he has made payment, and then it's stored in where? In the database. And then an inventory is generated. And then the report is generated, and the manager can view the reports, and so on and so forth. Now, there is another one. How does this one look like? Someone explain, please. Someone explain the diagram on the board. Well, let's use this one. It's not clear. Okay, let's go back to, I'm looking for one that is a bit clear. Okay. So what is the first item? Start. Then what? And then what? Load homepage. Then what? And then what? The diagrams are not very clear. I need a clearer diagram. Why am I stressing my life? Don't worry now. Let's go for large. Let's see. Bam. I have to do that. Where is the stop sharing? Yeah, but it's still sharing. It's your own Christine, but it's sharing. It's coming up. Oh? Somebody please read this for us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, before you go forward, this is what? A decision. Okay? A decision. Decision has yes and what? No. If you're going to the market, and then you decide, hi, let me not go to the market again. It's what? A no. You said, let me just go for the sake of argument. It's a yes. So any decision you make has two, well, some have more than two, but in the flow chart, any decision you make has two sides, a true and a false side. Okay? So now we have, is food available? If yes, process payments. Then validate payments. If payment has been validated, then everything paid. Then repair order, new order, customer order, and what? And if the food is not available, offer something else. If the customer wants it, if the customer doesn't want it, cancel order and end. But if the customer wants it, then process payments, validate payments. When you validate payments, the payment is not successful. Request urgent payments. Let the person use OK. And OK is what I mean, you don't do transfer. And you affiliate, and then you use first bank. And then if first bank too, they do not say they behave well. You use what? Money points. If all of them no agree, draw. Payment is possible. If yes, then go together. If no, go to end. Now, this will give the developer a clearer picture of what the flow of events look like. That is called what? Flow chart diagram. It shows the flow of events. If this doesn't happen, then what should I do? If this happens, then what should I do? I don't know if you understand. So, then there are other diagrams and other this thing that you can use. I will send this to the Telegram. Okay, so you can go there and open and see and practice, look at it, and then you can go on YouTube and search for other materials that explain most of these diagrams in a more enlightened and more simplified fashion. Okay. Then after the designers have done their diagramming and all, it's handed to who? The developer. The developer will be responsible for what? Developing or coding these diagrams and these requirements. After he's done developing them, then what does he do next? Anyone? No, you don't, madam. If you develop software and you deploy, you don't test them. Somebody will transfer 1,000 naira to convert to 10,000 for the other guy's accounts. And they will deduct him 10,000 naira. No, it's true. So after development is what? Testing. Now, there are different type of what? Testing. You have white box, black box, and integration testing. There are many of them. And the reason why you test is to what? Make sure that the software reaches the desired quality. It's not that you hate the developer of the software. Well, except if you two are sharing the same girlfriend, you might hate the developer. But usually the developer and the testers don't even know each other. Okay? That is why in some instances you will see some companies that hire people to test software for them and then they pay the people money, especially with remote jobs. Your task is just to test. Now, you are testing against maybe requirement, you're testing against simplicity, you're testing against so many variables that you can test against. Okay? Now, after testing, what comes next? Deployment. Now, there is one thing we used to forget. After testing, sometimes you don't just go for deployment. Okay? Sometimes you have to send code to developer. Because if there are moments, then you put 3 views and you are transferring 1,000 naira. And then the system is supposed to convert the code before it sends it to central bank. If you are converting 1,000 naira to that will be how much? How many codes? 10,000 Kobo. I think I'm mistaken. One year is something. So now, if you are sending 1,000 naira and you are supposed to convert it to Kobo, you have 2 zeros in it. So 1,000 plus 2 zeros is what? 7,000 or 10,000? Please, somebody separate your my friend, don't be separate your leg. It's 100,000 Kobos, right? Now, imagine the person doing the conversion. And you pass that 1,000 to the balance. That is, how much do you person that is able to do it? No. The value by 100. What is what is less? 10. So the person will see what? 10 naira. And the person how much? 1,000. So you test against requirement, against quality, against usability, against there are so many variables of security, there are so many variables you can test the software against. Now, no. You don't need to be a person now. You need a team of software testers that test different components. So these guys are only part of just test design. So maybe you say enter age, and then you get a second number, and this system will not allow you to add F. Now, how does that work with numbers? Because now you send it back to you and correct this number, and correct that number, and correct all the problems that you can see. And even after you deploy, you will still experience problems sometimes. Okay? Because the way you intend for the software to be used, sometimes that is not how users use it. Okay? So if your users decide to do shortcuts, well, you know the end results. Then after that, we go for deployment. Now, deployment is a field on its own. That is why I say software engineering is like biology. From mouth, it sounds small. But if everybody should do his own tasks, based on what he's supposed to do, there are many fields under software engineering. Many of them. Okay? So last, you do maintenance. Now, in most cases, when you develop a software for a company, they are supposed to, your contract, you're supposed to be at 10% of the development cost of that software as maintenance, payable at the end of each year. Payable at what? Now, so it's higher. Even if I don't pay it, you'll see $10,000 less. Even if you do it, you're supposed to pay that amount. Yes. Now, in the event that something happens with this, and it will of no cost to the company. Okay? It will cost no cost to the company. Now, if the company says tax, like they use 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10% of that, 10% of the cost. This is you don't hire the people, you don't. And then the end is not paid because the way to do it, then they not paid you can end that particular science. If anything should happen, you guys will come and do it. In fact, I didn't like that kind of arrangement. I didn't like that kind of arrangement when they say, this is the business cost. You have to do one. When something happens, you call me. Because this is it, you can use the current rates of dollar. You can talk about it, this is not a legislation like that. I'm not sure that the amount they will pay, the pay, might be almost close to the amount of the okay? And then you don't have students where in agreements, the company can decide to say, okay, we don't have money, but at the end of each year, we give 2% or 5% of whatever you are. This is okay. 10% of whatever we are. No. Yes. The whole development is going to follow the development team. So they will take the risk of developing software after they are developing software. Every year, 10% of that will be given. Another arrangement is like this. Let's now go into a portal for this idea. I will say, I don't want the manager for years pay me code. I want to pay based on the number of students we have. Then I will say, okay, I'm going to charge 5,000 naira per student. Now that's very, very good. At first, you suffer very money and you do it. But what I think you're saying is subsequently. Now, let's take this class again. 5,000 naira times 4 units. How much better? So let's take the more of people that apply for this identity. Like your 150 ones. 1,000. Can you take it like that for you?
No, we are us.
So this class again. So now let's say 60,000 times 5,000. Now, 300 watts? 300 watts? And you are so that one is what? 30 watts. Now the one is but mind you, no, this is no, but now, I'm not telling you how you can get project without getting the wrong perspective. No problem. Okay? Now, let's assume you develop the software and say, okay, I'll bring some number of software this, you pay 1,000 there, and the school admits. And then they admit 200 students. 200 students, right? That's 1,000. That's 1,000. That's one semester. Next semester will come. The next time again, they admit 500. Let's say 200. Previously, I didn't have money. Another didn't. Now, the first time, the first year, you have 200,000, right? The next year, you have 200. Was the previous 200. They didn't have money. 400. And then mind you, the primary should be half by what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By the time you have 6, let's assume each year I think 200 students. 206.
That's 1,200.
That is 1,000. Now, that's the 1 year. Every time. And mind you, in a year, you have how many times? 3 times. So now that's it. So now, the question is this. You do not do anything. You do not add a penny to anything. And every year you have 3.6. But every time you have how much? Every time you have how much? 1.2 going to your pocket. What did you use? Okay? So I will look for materials and then I will send it to you guys. It's after deployment now. When there is need for updates, you negotiate. That this one, because okay, let's assume you develop a software for them and you said, this software that you develop for us is good, but if you add this thing, add this thing, it's better. How much are you doing? No, it's not about payment. How much do you take to do this? How long? Do I have people that are doing this?
That's after you have
You are doing the project.
no, that was allowed.
Let's assume now, after you develop, you spend thousands of them. You want to do classrooms for the Sunday school students. How much are you going to do? And you are going to pay this amount. But if I'm going to hire somebody to do this, then I'll have to pay the more than that. I'm not going to do it. Then you negotiate. Marketing is not negotiation. You know how the prices are.
But you expect that first.
No, it doesn't happen. You are building on. Look at it this way. You have a program for like this. And then you decide that. Let's look at this thing. This is my house. Look at the house. This place is falling. If I down here now, this on top of this thing. If I put decking, I'll put two here. Do I start doing something? No. Why do you add beans and then put my this in fact, I really I have cut it like this. Halfway. All of this is hollow. Hollow. and you have children. If you don't get them doing shouting and having themselves, they're up to something sinister. So now you don't know the system where you cannot give and say that you from your concept. This is a power. Come down like this. Before you want to go like this, you use your oil. No, you don't say that. Let them do obey. Maybe they take it out, open it, and then they start talking to their own people. When you don't find. So, yes, someone is asking, is it of advantage to specialize in DevOps as software engineer? The answer is yes. DevOps allows you to do something called CI/CD. Okay, continuous. CDCI. Development. Oh, CI/CD. So DevOps allows you to do that, and then you become a hotcake in the software engineering value chain. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I will send you guys some materials to read. If you have any other question, please send me an email. Don't call my number. Okay.